Okay, so we're checking out your Sharky assignment 2. We're going to start with the tooth. If we just kind of do a turnaround here, we can start to see, a couple small problems. First thing here is that we've got kind of this area that's coming out here on this side, and while on this side over here it's remaining relatively straight, so we don't have that same kind of shaping going on both sides. Alright, also right here we've got this nice zigzag line that's following the line that we've kind of established for the outline here, and then the one right above it is just kind of going flat across, so it's not continuing that shape. It's kind of breaking it up a lot. So that's something we'll want to address. And then also if we take a look, again, we've got the zigzag line here. On the other side, we've got the beginnings of that zigzag line, but then it just kind of flattens out as it goes over here. So our shapes aren't consistent on both sides of the tooth. It should be pretty symmetrical. So, let's fix that real quick. Shouldn't be anything too intense, probably. So first thing we're going to fix is this area right here where we have it kind of coming out over here and kind of staying flat over here. Now, I'd say in this situation, whoa, okay, sorry, vertex mode. In this situation, I kind of like the shaping that we've got over here. It adds some detail to the shape of this tooth rather than just leaving it perfectly flat, okay? So I'm actually going to I'll bring that out a little bit and down as well, okay? Something like, maybe like that. And we're actually going to just bring things in line using the scale tool, okay? So we just grab two vertices on either side, and we can use our scale tool just like that to bring them into line with one another, at least horizontally. And we can just kind of shape them. Alright, so we've got all these as well. We'll want to use our scale tool to straighten out that line. Okay, so now it's nice and straight. We can gauge a little better how to make this shape match. And then also, right here our center line has gotten away from us there on the bottom as well. So let's grab everything along this center line, and again just give it that scale tool treatment. We'll just scale it in the Z direction, okay, so that line is nice and straight, and we'll move it over so that it's hanging out on that center line where it should be, okay. Again, just now that we've kind of addressed that, let's try and pull these out so that they kind of match the opposite side here. It's not going to be perfect because we are just eyeballing it at this point, but we can try and keep those distances similar, alright? And we can even bring it in a little pointier if we want. We don't want this to be a super rounded tooth. It is a shark tooth. After all, it should be kind of sharp. Maybe something like that. Alright? And then we'll come up here and deal with this area. Alright? And again, we have kind of a case where things aren't really quite symmetrical. So, for example, this guy right here and this guy right here, they're not really making the same shape on both sides of the tooth. So let's use a scale tool first to bring them in line with one another, alright? And we'll do that with the rest of these as well. We'll just grab opposite vertices here and just use that scale tool to make sure that they are, whoops, I grabbed an extra one, to make sure that they're properly aligned with one another. Alright, that's going to help out our shaping a lot. Okay, So now things, you can see, look a little more even and symmetrical up here in this area. All right, next thing we're going to do is deal with this flat line here, okay? First thing is, you know, these two vertices right here are on either side of the tooth. One's on the front, one's on the back, okay? But they should actually be in line with one another when viewed from the front like this, okay? So they should be right on top of one another. So now they are. But we've got this nice, again, this kind of jaggy shape going on here, and we want to actually continue that shape here. Alright, so we're going to bring some of these up and some of these down. We're going to move them different ways, okay? And again, once we kind of move them somewhat where we want them, we're just going to grab the ones that are on opposite sides that kind of correspond. We're going to use the scale tool in the Y directions, bring them in line with one another so that they are occupying the same space, okay? So it might look like this one is further down than this one over here, but they're actually on exactly even space, okay? The reason that this one looks further down is because we have not even spacing on the bottom here, and it's actually, this one is quite far below this one over here, so it causes things to look kind of askew. So that's why it's super important to kind of keep things symmetrical if we can. All right, and let's deal with this bottom line here as well. So these ones, like I said, they're not in line with one another. They should be. So again, just use the scale tool to bring them into line. All right. And what you might notice is this guy hanging out right down here. We take a look. That's that area where it just kind of flattened out and didn't really follow that line. That should be right underneath this guy right up here, okay? So we can just put it somewhere around there, and then we can just grab both of them and use the scale tool to line them up perfectly with one another, okay? Once we've lined those two up, we should also line up this one on this side with the one on this side that corresponds, okay? So that they're nice and even and smooth. Alright. So one more thing here is, you know, this is here to kind of enhance shaping. So really we want to bring this in quite a bit. Because what's happening here is this top portion is going to be the gum, shark gum, okay? And then right here where it kind of dips in, this is where the tooth is going to begin, alright? That white bone tooth, okay? So we really want to define that, you know, not only with color but also with our shape. So we're kind of bringing this in here to define where the gum ends and the tooth begins. So we'll do the same thing, of course, on the other side. Just defining this edge, alright? And, you know, just try to match the spacing that you have going on. Again, it's not going to be perfect, but, you know, try and make it look somewhat the same on both sides, alright? So, it should look something like that. We could probably even bring this in a little bit thinner, just like that, okay? Nice sharp tooth. So it looks great now from the front, but you know, let's take a look around, see how it looks. Looks pretty good. Let's look at it from the side as well, okay? Make sure everything is lining up properly. And it is, so that's great, you know. It looks really, really sharp and awesome. So let's move on from our shark tooth and deal with our shark now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab this stuff and I'm going to set it on a layer. Okay. You don't have to do that for yours. I'm just doing it to get it out of the way. I'm just going to name it tooth and make it invisible. And I'm going to come over here to shark body layer, alright, in my channel box layer editor, and click on that little box there to make the shark visible again so we can see him. And then I'm also going to click on this letter R right here so that I can now manipulate Sharky and work on Sharky. Okay, so I just hit the 1 key on the keyboard. Okay, that switches back to our regular view. We did have them in smooth preview, which is the 3 key. Okay, so 3 is going to be smooth. 1 is going to switch it back to our just viewing our raw geometry. Okay, so we've got it in 1 now. This is actually very good. A couple of things that need a little bit of work. First little thing is just right here on the tail. Okay, there's a gap that we can see through. Alright, so we need to fix that. So let's go to edge mode, and you just want to grab these 2 edges here. Okay, 1 and 2 on the end of the gap here, and we're going to go to edit mesh, extrude. Of course, every time we extrude, we're going to move it, so let's move this a little bit out and up. Then I'm going to extrude 1 more time. Just pull that out. And I'm going to sew up this gap using my merge vertex tool. Okay? So I'll go to edit mesh, merge vertex tool, and we'll just click and drag these verts, just effectively sewing this flap that we've created to the shark tail here. Okay, just going around, clicking and dragging these vertices, and fixing up this gap. Okay, so we've gone all the way around to fix the gap. I hit my Q button for quit to quit my merge vertex tool, so I don't accidentally merge any vertices I don't want to. And it did leave kind of a little bump here on the top, so let's get rid of that as well. I'm just going to look at it from the side here. And I can just kind of move this into place, more or less. And then I can also just grab all of those by marquee selecting, alright, or otherwise known as clicking and dragging. And just use the scale tool to bring those into alignment with one another, okay? So now our shark tail is happy. That's good. Good sign. Alright, so moving on to this area just before the tail here. You may notice some unusual stuff happening here. You might notice this kind of black line that's going on, and some of your edges are kind of disappearing as they're going into this area. What this likely is some overlapping faces, and I think I see what's happening right here. If you look at these edges here that are kind of protruding out from the side of the shark, those probably just simply need to be brought in, okay? So they were out here causing problems. If we just scale them in, Sharky's happy again, and we eliminate that problem, okay? Let's also check out this fin right here. Looks pretty good, except for just, you know, obviously this shape at the top here is a bit awkward. Okay, so we've got this nice streamlined shape, and then it just juts out like crazy and comes back to this thin shape again. So take these 2 verts on either side and just scale them in. Just bring those guys into line, alright? So that it's not so dramatic at that point. Alright. let's look at the bottom fins here. Okay. If we take a look at this from the side, we've got this line going across, and then it just juts down quite far all of a sudden. Alright, and this one as well is kind of just jutting over here and then switching directions dramatically. I know on the tooth we did use a lot of zigzaggy lines, but for the most part we don't like zigzags, alright? Zigzags are not our friends. We like curves. I'm going to move this down as well, just to let out, because it was kind of going into the shark, alright? So pull that down, so it's not. Okay, and these are just slightly out of line as well. So just bring them back into line, okay? And that's probably fine. These ones too are a little bit out of line with one another. Let's just bring those in, okay? We could probably do that with all of these. Alright, just go around and bring things together where you can, okay? It's alright to leave some things out of line if they are helping with the shaping, okay, but for these ones we'll just pull them together, okay, to make everything a little bit easier to look at. Alright, so we've got that all kind of lined up. So we don't want those zigzaggy lines in this area, so we definitely want to move this in so that we're kind of following some sort of natural flow, right? So, you know, what we have now, moving this to, you know, somewhere around this kind of area, is we've got this kind of curve that's coming down like this through to the fin, the end of the fin right there. And we also have this one coming across, okay? Instead of doing, you know, this kind of a thing, where we've got this really long stretched polygon over here and this one that's kind of bending in on itself. We've got something that creates some pretty evenly dissected geometry. Alright? Let's also look at this fin. Okay, so right here we can see that these little guys are kind of dipping inside the shark. Alright, so we want to bring those out for sure. Just bring that out. You know, it doesn't have to be anything crazy, just bring it out a little bit at least. Alright? Then we also have this right here, which is also inside the shark. Okay, so this is kind of the edge of our body here. We've got something coming up inside here, and there was something inside here as well. So what I think, you know, is meant to be happening here is that these should actually be way over here, right? Or, you know, maybe even in between somewhere. And this should also be way over here. Alright, what we could do is just kind of bring this to even kind of this location and take these middle ones, pull them over there. Alright, take those and kind of enhance that shape that way. Alright, maybe bring that in a little bit. Of course, you'll want to use your guide. I'm not looking at it at the moment, to kind of adjust these properly and keep that proper fin shape, but you really don't want this way over here. You want these to kind of be together, at least somewhat, just helping that shape, alright, that fin shape. And then again, we have an area right here where this is kind of going up inside the shark, where we really probably want it somewhere right on that line, okay? Now, another thing that I've noticed about Sharky is that when we're looking at him from the side, he's still roughly quite square, okay? And at this point, we really should have some nice rounded shaping to Sharky. So, you know, these kind of flat lines, that we've got going on, on the top here, are just not really going to do it anymore. Okay, so one of the reasons that we have that, is we're looking at the top here, and actually, when we look at it this way, we've got this nice curvy line going down the length of Sharky. This curving here that's happening as his head is rounding out. So we've got this rounded shape coming along here, and then all of a sudden it just kind of goes super flat, and then comes back and starts curving around the body again. Okay, so just at the top here is where things are really flattening out. And so, how do we fix that? One way that we can deal with this is to grab some of these vertices that go down the length of Sharky, okay? And we can kind of see they're super close to this next line in, all right? And they are creating that curved shape on the side here. So we've moved them inwards to create a curve, but we have not moved them downwards to create a curve, okay? So we need to grab all of these on either side, and I'd say start, just behind the eye, and just kind of go all the way down and grab these outer edges here. Make sure you got them all. And what I would do is take a look at this from the front, okay? Because this is where you should be seeing your nice round shape, all right? And we're gonna pull those down a lot. And it looks like I grabbed some extra ones now that I'm looking here. So again, watch out for that kind of thing. Watch out for accidentally grabbing extra verts like I did. All right. Always double check. All right. So we're going to move those down. All right. And obviously, once we move them down, they're not making that pretty curve anymore, right? So we also need to move them outwards a bit, okay? We can move them back up a little. So you can see now that we've moved them down and out just a bit. Now we've got this nice curved shape going and continuing all the way around, all right? Instead of what we had before, which was this curve that comes up here, turns flat, and then comes and curves down the side, all right? Once we do that, it's not going to be perfect. For example, some of the verts that we have moved are probably going to have been moved down very, very far, all right? Too far. So we're going to have to go through and readjust those, okay? It's a kind of on a case-by-case basis, if you will, deal with some of these vertices. It's just a matter of shaping. So for example, the curve is going to look best right here in this center area. As we get closer to the face, this is where things are going to start going amiss with the curve that we just created there. So, grab these guys by the face here, and just, use your eyeballing skills. Just move those back up into a reasonable position. You can move them out a little, move them in, whatever keeps a nice curve going, all right? So, again, move back one as well, and we'll, again, sort of adjust for this curve that we're making. All right, something like that. And we'll come to the back here as well and deal with, a little mess that we made back here. And it's just going to be trying to keep these polygons on either side of this edge roughly the same size, okay? So, you know, when we've got it down here, we've got this little tiny one down here, and a great big one down here. We just want to move them until they're about even, okay? And then we also want to use our scale tool to move it in or out as needed, all right? That one looks pretty good right where it's at. So again, going back, pulling this up, till they're about even. This one I'll move in a little bit, just a bit. And yeah, you can see I probably went back a little too far here. I got kind of carried away. So again, just move it up, scale it in a little, keep those nice curves running down the body. One more right here. Moving it up. A little bit more. Scaling it in. Very nice. Okay. And then right here as well, you know, we didn't actually touch this area when we just did our moving and scaling all at once, but we should, once we're done with that, okay, at least pull these down to give it a little rounded shape, all right? Because right now we've got kind of this flat, blocky thing going on, so we should just move it down just a little bit to round it out. This as well should be rounded out, so just grab either side, just pull it down just a little bit. It doesn't have to be super dramatic, just give it a little bit of shape, okay? Same thing should be happening down here as well. We should be pulling things up, giving it some rounded shape, all right? Don't get too crazy with it. And here as well, you know, it's very important to shape this by pulling it up and also pulling it in, okay? And it looks like at this point you can pretty clearly see that this side is much thinner than this side over here. So you'll of course want to move that in a lot, okay? So that it matches a little bit better. So otherwise you're gonna have problems later on. Alright, as you're shaping. Alright, so pull those in so that they match a little bit better on each side. And again, just go along grabbing these outer edges. And, you know, you don't grab all of them at once because you saw how that can turn out. You can get a little crazy. Just grab some of them, pull them up, pull them in. Try to keep them even. Try to keep that smooth flow going, alright? And it also helps to look at these from the side as well when you're doing this, okay? Because you kind of wind up with these wobbly lines sometimes, like I have here. So just look at it from the side, move these around a little to kind of keep a smooth sort of feel going, alright? Like this. These two, grab these that are behind the fin here, fins. And pull those up, pull them in. It's just a process of pulling things up and pulling them in, just to make it less of a square shark and more of a round, realistic shark. Okay. Here as well, we've got that boxy feeling, so we're gonna pull that in, and pull it up. Anywhere that it feels boxy, pull it in and pull it up. And you know, yeah, it can be a little tedious to deal with these. one at a time, but it's a necessary evil to make your shark really look pretty cool, okay? Again, right here, pulling it up, and pulling it in. Don't forget to keep looking at things from multiple angles, alright? Like, for example, right there, I was probably getting a little carried away. Had it way up here, alright? So, you know, you just kind of have to keep yourself in check by looking at things from a lot of different views, alright? Here as well, you should be pulled up, pulled in. In and up. And you can see how much this really improves the look and feel of your shark. Okay. And I'm going to pull these center guys down a little bit as well, like so. And again, looking at it from multiple angles, I'm going to look at it from the side here. I'm going to see, does it look right from the side? You know, do I have my curves right, or am I getting carried away with my curves? Should look about like this, alright? And never really worked on the eyebrow area either. Let's bring that into line as well. So we're gonna grab those eyebrows we've got going on there. I'm gonna pull those out a lot. I'm also gonna pull them down. Okay. I'd say I'd prefer it probably something like that. You know, you don't have to make big dramatic eyebrows for your shark. You could do something like this even. That would be quite alright. But remember that we'll still need to pull these out and pull them down. Okay? It's just for the eyebrow area that we kind of do that zigzag type thing. Then don't forget the bottom of the lip here as well. These guys also need shaping. Alright. Pull them up. Pull them in. Doesn't have to be too dramatic, you know. You can even do something like that. Probably good. Alright. And so when you're done, it should look nice and round from any angle. And this is in the regular viewing mode, okay? We're not even in smooth mode right now, so if we put this into smooth mode, it should look very similar to the way it looks regularly, okay? It should be only a slight change there. Alright? Don't want anything too crazy, drastic differences. That's kind of the idea, is that we don't really rely on the smooth preview mode. We definitely want to make sure that we have our shape the way that we want it. So it's already good for when we smooth it out later. Of course, because I moved my eyebrows, my eyes are like hanging out inside the shark right now, so of course I'm going to bring those out. I'm just using the scale tool to pull them out, which didn't work, as you can see. I didn't think that one all the way through. Okay, so as I was scaling them, I was accidentally scaling them outwards. So what we can actually do is just grab them and move them out. Okay. Whee! Look at them from the outside here. Okay, so I have this one at 0.353, so the other one, it stands to reason, should be at negative 0.353, and translate z here if I want my eyeballs to be perfectly even. Alright, so after that, that's everything for Sharky, and he's ready to go, and ready to start laying out those UV maps so that you can do a cool paint job on him later on, of course. Alright, so let me know if you have any questions about anything that we went over today, and I'd be happy to help. Other than that, happy modeling.